Hello, I'm Roger, and welcome to Meditation, Mindfulness in Nature. In this video, I'm going to talk about mindfulness paying attention to your surroundings. So the definition that I like to use of mindfulness, and I'm just going to rotate you slowly, it's really a pretty beautiful landscape right here, and the sun is setting and the clouds are interesting, and so I'm going to just move this slowly while I talk. And I'm going to do it a couple times. But first I'm just going to let you see what the landscape looks like, because I don't know what the changes are going to be over the next minute or two or three. So I'll let you see what it looks like now, and I'll just keep going back and forth slowly. So the definition of mindfulness that I like to use is bringing our awareness or attention to our breath, our emotions, our thoughts, our senses, and our surroundings. Also bringing attention to our judgments, and trying to be in the current moment, letting the most recent moment just pass by. So I'm going to talk about in this video is what does it mean to pay attention, or how do we bring our awareness to our senses, or to our surroundings. And so I'm just showing you where I'm sitting. Since this one is about our surroundings, I'll tell you where I am. I am in southwest Wisconsin, in the United States of North America, and it is the end of July. We are a temperate climate, which means we get a decent amount of rain. We've had a lot of rain this spring and summer, so we're very lush and green, as you can see. And so these are the surroundings I'm in. I'm in a farming community. I'm on a rural country road. And so we're going to talk about exploring our surroundings with our senses. So our senses, the senses that we mostly explore our surroundings with would be sight and hearing. Probably not going to feel too much, like body touch or vibrations. And not going to taste our surroundings usually. And sometimes we can smell them. Right now I don't smell much. There's not a lot of smell that I smell right now. It's a little bit, it smells like summer, it smells green. It's a hot and humid day. Today was over 90 and I don't know, probably 80 to 90% humidity. It was quite warm. And so that's part of our surroundings. So I guess that's a part of I feel my surroundings, of what's the temperature and the humidity. Now, regarding sound, I can hear a plane in the distance. You may or may not hear that. But as I'll start to describe, in the very distance on the ground, there, I'll see if I can point to it. If my finger, there, right there, at the tip of my finger, is an irrigation system. We're on sand in the Wisconsin River Valley, and so they irrigate here. And that's one of the sounds. I can hear that irrigation system running in the background. It kind of sounds like a truck driving on a road off in the distance, or a tractor, but it's one of the sounds that you may or may not be hearing. It's a sound that I'm hearing. There were some trees. Of course, there's the grass right in front of us. The sky is slowly changing as the sun sets. So just describe what I'm seeing. I'm hearing some bugs. Maybe they're cicadas. There's a little traffic in the distance. The plane has gone away. And the bugs. So when we explore our surroundings, it's not our brains will think, and that's what our brains do. And so we'll be identifying things, and I catch myself doing it too. Even when I'm doing a video about mindfulness and exploring our surroundings, I still, as a human who thinks, will go into that thinking way. Now, but if we really work to explore our surroundings of not labeling stuff as much, now we're going to label things, we're going to identify things, but we also can do it we can try to just describe. And describe would be that right in the front of this video is short, green, slender vegetation. Off to the side on the left is some taller, getting dark because of sunset, taller vegetation. We can see we can see off into the distance. The sky has different shades of blue. I mean, and in the foreground, before we get to the horizon, here comes another plane. I'm not too far from the airport, so planes will come by. Planes are part of nature. Humans are part of nature. What we create is part of nature. And I identified it as a plane. Now, if I were to not do identifying, I would say there is a loud sound. It's kind of undulating, vibrating. It might be a helicopter. That's me identifying, aware of my thoughts. And I just looked. It is a helicopter. I'll see if it comes into view here. It might be going where we can. It just lets you see it. But I can say it's a helicopter, and you know it's a helicopter. But when it comes in, if it comes into frame, I'll try to describe it. You're hearing the sound. I'll be quiet. You see if you can describe the sound. And while you hear that, also look at the scene. What can you describe in the scene? And the helicopter just went behind the trees. We're not going to see it. And its sound is changing. Or I should say the dark thing in the sky that makes noise, to be more descriptive. And back to the landscape. I'm going to go a little bit around here because the sky is changing. But in the sky, we can see what colors do you see? If you try to describe the colors and the shapes, I would say, there's some blue, it's blue-gray. There is a little bit of a orange or peach hue in the background. The clouds, which I'm identifying clouds, but there are some horizontal bluish gray. If I were to more describe the clouds, there's some horizontal running blue-gray lines in the sky, and sky is also identifying. So if I were to say in the upper half or more of this video, and up really high, it gets lighter. Almost not quite white, but much lighter color at the top, a really light blue. There is near the top, on the right center top, is a cloud that's mostly white, or a fluffy design or a squiggly design that's white. There's also some just beside that are pretty dark, that are higher, and they also are going horizontal. In there's the helicopter. You may or may not see it. It is just above those trees, just left of center. You can still hear it. And of course I called it helicopter because that's the easiest, but you may see a dark thing going across the sky above the landscape and in front of the darker blue-gray parts in the top half of the screen, or the center screen. And it's turning and coming at me, so we're going to hear it more again, and we will see it for sure. This is part of being in nature, and I'll say this now because it fits. Whenever we try to do mindfulness, most people start doing mindfulness to help reduce stress. And then we go to like these calm, gentle places to practice mindfulness where there's not much stress. Well, here's a stressor. This helicopter is going to get louder. I'm sure you can hear me. I'm pretty close to the mic. But this is not ideal for recording mindfulness, but it is realistic for doing mindfulness. If we want to reduce stress, we can practice mindfulness in stressful situations, because that's where we're going to try to use it. And so the surroundings, I didn't plan the helicopter, but it certainly has added an interesting aspect to exploring our surroundings. And I'm just slowly moving the landscape again so you can see more. And how would you describe it? There's definitely in the foreground, I can see more green. Going off on the land, another descriptive word, it gets darker where there's darker green, and that's kind of, it's trees, so I can see that there's the shapes of trees. It has kind of roundish shapes would be a good way to describe it. Above that is the blue-gray. It's losing the orange-pink hue and getting to be a little bit more white in the background, and still there are horizontal stripes. I'll go back again. And so this is how we can explore. The helicopter's circling because they're not that far from the airport, but I can hear bugs. I don't know if you can or not. I can hear a little screechy, loud sound up in the woods. And I think you get the idea of surroundings. We're going to be hit by the helicopter again, which is less than ideal, but a reality. So I hope this explains paying attention to our surroundings and really exploring them with both sight and listening or hearing are the easiest. I didn't really feel anything. I had some emotions, I wish the helicopter wasn't here, but it is. So that's an emotion I'm aware of. I'm working with it and incorporating it into this. So that's a little bit about dealing with here my emotions coming out of my language, dealing with surroundings. It should be exploring our surroundings, bringing our attention and awareness to our surroundings. And yes, my language has changed because we're being circled by a helicopter. But here we're post sunset and the sky is pretty, and there's a judgment, but it's a positive judgment. The sky is interesting. There's a dog barking in the distance, and I identified the dog as opposed to say there's a kind of sharp, gruff sound in the distance. And there's some red in the landscape, and some red and some green. You may be able to see there's some black dots, which are cattle. And that is, I think, enough of exploring our surroundings. And again, I'm a little bit not as pleased with this, but I have to accept this is what happens. This is what happens in life. So that's our surroundings. Thank you for exploring and working on mindfulness with me.